When was the moment you realized that your friends are assholes? When I started hanging out with better people. Amazing how that works. First time hanging out with new people, a bunch of us were in a circle chatting. I'm soft-spoken, and when I accidentally got talked over, I just accepted it as always, was very used to it. Someone in this group actually stopped them, said, "Hold on, what were you saying, Jenamac?" And the other person even apologized. It was mind-blowing being heard and seen like that, and put a lot into perspective. Lamau, this is literally the worst thing that happens. There's nothing that makes me feel more inconsequential and unappreciated. After I realized that other people don't shit on each other on every possible occasion in their circle. And that it isn't right when a friend uses every known insecurity as an argument against you when you do not behave the way he or she would want you to. I feel this a little too closely. I stopped texting everyone all at the same time. I never heard from any of them again. Yeah, I'm in the process of doing this right now. I'm learning very quickly that if I shut off the initiation, they're not the ones worrying. Same. My supposed best friend just stopped replying to my texts properly, and so I just stopped talking. Haven't heard back from him. This process has been extremely heartbreaking yet beneficial, since I now know what to look for in people. When we went on a trip to America and a day before coming home he mentioned that he only could afford a one-way trip, so could we help him pay for his return flight. This was back in the early 2000s when flights were only around $400. He's the guy who'll organize a meal knowing he can't afford it. He only gets away with it because he's funny. A friend of mine dated a guy like this for a while. I called him. I only have $1 Dave. Half the time, he was the one who'd suggested going out. Whether he did or not, he always waited till the check came to make his announcement. That was how we knew for sure that this friend was gay. Only infatuation can make people that blind to crappy behavior. Dave was annoying in many ways. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Last year of high school, my friends threw food at a freshman while we were driving around. And to think I almost fell into this crowd fully had I not been raised properly. I let my friend borrow my PS2 when I went to boot camp. When I came back, he said he sold it and gave me $50, I think. This was in 2006. What was his reasoning, do you remember? What a fucked up thing. Just said he got a good deal, but he didn't even need the money, which pissed me off more. When they tell me to shut up when I say anything. Same. I had a friend who would just talk to me to pick on me. Yes. Or contradict everything you say. When she made out with a random stranger right next to me on an airplane, for like an hour, whilst she was in a serious relationship with one of my best friends from high school. Once we were back on land, I texted my HS friend and told him that she cheated on him, and I immediately friend dumped the cheater. She was genuinely shocked that I'd told him, like she expected me to just be chill with her cheating on a bro. This was really the straw that broke the camel's back. The cheater was a real narcissist and her behavior had been getting on my nerves for a while by that point, especially the way she'd been emotionally abusing my buddy in the months leading up to this. My HS friend was devastated at the time, but it's been a few years and he's a lot happier now. It's always surprised me when someone is so open about their cheating and still get mad when you tell on them. My stepdaughter started dating a guy. I let him move in. I got him a job. I drove him to work every day. Then he started fucking a chick at work, I guess thinking I wouldn't tell. I told. She forgave him, they moved out, and now I never see her. I hope one day she sees what he is. When they started to smoke and drink alcohol as kids. They were obsessed trying to pretend they were gangster and shit, and then as they got older they started to rob and do drugs. Another one. I didn't see it at the time, but they only wanted to be with me because I was the rich kid of the block. So they took advantage of that. I paid for the arcades, food, or we played often at my house since I had a video game console and they didn't, but when I wanted to play at their house they would refuse every single time. Yeah, I had something similar, but it was because my parents worked till past midnight, so I always had a free house. Thought they were all true friends, but once we turned 18 they all fucked off to uni and essentially ghosted me. They still all meet up from time to time without me. Captions like "We'll be best friends forever." Still hurts. Abbott at 33. Every time you see that you should think, wow, I dodged that bullet. When they robbed me at gunpoint. That'll do it. That's what we call a red flag. Was dared to run down the hall of our hotel butt naked. They locked the door and I had to stand outside and hold my junk whilst the poor woman who worked at the front desk let me back into my room. Funny now, I was pissed at the time. In fairness, that is just hilarious, especially compared to the other responses such as being robbed at gunpoint. I was in the locker rooms changing and one of my classmates said, "Did you see what X posted on her Insta story?" As in a very condescending way. Then, the other girls jumped up saying, "No, let me see." Or yeah, she's such a H0. I happened to have seen that story beforehand and it was just a selfie with her in her BF's car. Nothing out of usual. After that, they started to show each other old videos of themselves mocking other stories of her. I realized the real H0s were in there with me, quickly grabbed my stuff and left. Girls that all gang up to talk shit about one other girl are usually jealous. When they stopped being my friends after I went through a rough financial patch. Yep. Have any kind of crisis, financial or health, and you will see people's true colors. Have any kind of crisis, financial or health, and you will see people's true colors, or even just make a joke they misinterpret as a mental health crisis, and they basically tell you to go jump in a river. When they cut my out all of the sudden. I had been friends with these guys for 10 years, then one day they all up and left, blocked me on everything. I have been questioning if I am a horrible person. All my elementary school friends ghosted me over the summer before junior high. When I ran up to them all, excited to see them on the first day of junior high, they literally turned their backs on me without saying anything. In hindsight, I'm a better person for not having been the punching bag for the popular girls, but boy did it hurt at the time. They were picking on a member of our group for random crap, e.g. her hair, her clothes, etc. I snapped and told them to STFU and that they sounded like a band of hyenas, and they said if she doesn't know how shit she is, her life will be hard. We are helping her. Needless to say, we didn't keep in touch afterwards. Holy, sometimes when I hear about this kinda shit I'd think we'd be better off extinct. 4th grade. When my parents' economical situation went downhill and suddenly no one invited me to their birthday party. Until 7 years later no one had never invited me to their birthday, or to anything at all actually. Money really can change people, sometimes to the worst. My childhood's best friend turned on me when his father made a small fortune suddenly and he became a spoiled little brat. Talked shit about me behind my back to our common friends and started to bully me. That lasted from like 6th 8th grade until his dad pulled him from our school and placed him in an expensive private school. Haven't seen him since, but I've heard that he flunked law school, lol. Just one, when he propositioned my girlfriend to have sex with him under the guise of making sure she was being faithful to me. I had a friend do this. She tried to set me up to see if I would fuck her boyfriend when she left us alone to go across the street to pick up food. The boyfriend kept trying to show me something in his room. I say no and to bring it to me, but he wouldn't. So we awkwardly sit in silence while my friend came back. When she did, she was like anything happened while I was gone. We both say no. That's when she hugs me saying that was a friendship test to see if you would do anything. You're such a great friend. Bitch, what? Hold up. She was testing you as a friend and not him as the boyfriend? I mean, both are despicable. But at least testing the boyfriend sorta? Makes sense? She got a boyfriend and would let him listen to our phone calls and not tell me, even if I was crying about personal stuff that I would only ever tell her. Then they both started lying to me about my crush liking me back, forcing both him and me into awkward positions, telling everyone we liked each other so they'd play along, swapping places constantly to make us sit next to each other, pressuring him into giving me a lap dance, making him kiss the prettiest girl in the room, etc., and encouraged me to shoot my shot more and more. All the while they knew he didn't like me. He had told them both directly. One night I was crying on the phone cause I was so confused why my advances weren't working, and they just kept explaining it away, blaming some other bullshit reason and telling me to try again. The next day they told me they were laughing throughout the whole call, because I didn't get it and I was so upset. I should add I had no dating experience at all and nobody had ever liked me at this point. when I prepared my graduation project with them. Those assholes left me in the last week before the deadlines, and put their names with group of girls. The surprise that I had another plan, and it won the prize of the best project, so I didn't need to share it with those assholes. Congratulations. When I told my friend I was completely in love with this girl and also told him that I've been battling depression for 2 years as well as thinking about killing myself. Then found out that not even 2 weeks after I told him all this he started hooking up with the girl and then would brag and talk about her in front of me as if he had no idea about how I felt. Yup, I've been there. It's the worst. One day, they turned their backs, and never talked to me again. This happened to me early this year, FCK them. Some people have told me it wasn't a big deal, but it was to me. She went after the woman I had a thing for and I was already pursuing. She knew I had a thing for this woman. I told her how much I liked this person. My friend knew how strongly I felt, and what made it worse was she was being supportive to my face and gave me the courage to finally go for what I wanted but never had the confidence to do before. But then she tried to get with this woman behind my back. She said it's whoever gets there first. When I found out. WTF. I always felt like that was just something you don't do to friends anyway, whether it's behind your back or they're being obvious about it. It's a line you're not supposed to cross. I felt betrayed and disrespected. I did end up dating the woman and we were together for 2 years. So there's that. But I cut ties with my friend. When he does shit to me and acts like it's no big deal, then I do the same back and he gets offended. Well duh. Punching bags aren't supposed to punch back. When people view other people as things in their life, they don't like it when they perform in ways they aren't meant to. Also, they hate it when the NPCs talk back. They only bothered with me when it suited them. I'd rather have nobody than have to deal with that. I had the same situation. I was always the one calling or texting some friends and trying to get something going. One day I just gave up reaching out to see if they'd call me and I haven't heard from them since. I have a friend that will never invite me to anything, ever. But we know that about him and he does want to hang out, he just has vulnerability issues. It's annoying but I've just accepted it. We've been friends for 20 years. When they prioritized drugs over loyalty and began to steal from me to financially support their habit. Fuck those guys. We were in high school. My mom is a psychologist, and has a nice office near where we went to high school. One day I invited my friends to the office to have whiskey and cigars. I told them the place had to stay as clean and neat as it was, so we don't get caught. Any of them puked in the corner, and they put the couch against the bathroom door while I was in there, breaking one leg of the couch and trapping me in. I'm not friends with these people anymore. My current friend group is really nice, and I'm really happy. You're kind of a dumbass for doing all that as a kid at your mom's office. No matter the friends involved, it wasn't a good choice. I was a dumbass kid all around. Trust me, I did dumber things than this. Jokes on the world, now I'm a dumbass adult working in a lab. God help us all. Survival of the fittest. After I said that COVID could take out my mom, they wanted to go back to partying. Holy fuck. Yeah, it was one of those things that didn't really register when it happened. I was just looking back and then remembered and was like, whoa. When I became depressed, when I reached out, the first thing they did was tell me off for being depressed, more like full-on yelling, then stop talking to me over time. A classmate told me my friend was saying some weird stuff behind my back. I didn't believe it and she told me to lock myself into the bathroom stall and to listen. She managed to get her to talk about me and what I heard wasn't nice at all. She called me some names and said that she didn't like me at all, she was just pretending to. Sadly I didn't drop her immediately. Was friend with her for a good year after that. She just got worse. Eventually dropped her. Should have opened the stall door and called her bitch ass out. Should have launched a poo over the top. And shouted it's over Bethany. When they can joke around your insecurity but won't take it themselves. I've also met one of those. And if you call them out, you're too sensitive and can't take a joke. Or you are prejudiced against them. Like, no. You make me feel like shit. Calling you out on your bullshit isn't prejudice. On my birthday my mother confided that she had tried to throw a party for me. Everyone declined. 3 days later 3 people came over to go to the nail salon with my mom. 3 months later I'm at karaoke and some friends show up. They give me grief all night for not sitting or talking to them. When we walked out to the cars I let loose. You're not friends. You're people I know. I had bought birthday cakes and helped you all move at one time or another. I have chauffeured your drunk asses home. 2 of you are with the person I hooked you up with. Not one of you even called me for my birthday. I pointed at one particular person. I have not heard from or seen you in 3 GD years, but you showed up to go to the salon with mom. Fuck all of you all. Why would people that hadn't seen you in 3 years go to the salon with your mom? Is she a celebrity? Why would your mom go to the spa with people who ignored you on your birthday? This is just strange. Asking the real questions here. So confused. When they say mean jokes and you tell them that's not funny and it's mean, and they say I know and keep laughing. There's a difference between lighthearted banter and being a cunt. Too many people don't know the difference. When they kept saying they couldn't hang out then would post about going bowling together or to the movies. We didn't stay friends long after that. I call my friends, say let's go into town but they're all too busy to go into town. So I go by myself, I go into town. Then I see all my friends, they're all in town. When I just asked if anyone wanted to play and he told me to kilometers and I was a fat loser all I said was anyone wanna play? I'm so sorry but I died when I read this. Terrible dude, but damn all that for just asking if anyone wanted to play? And he calls you fat and to cuss? I got surgery and no one checked up on me. Not even a text. Did they know you got surgery? When I quit drinking. This is a super hard one. You really realize who you were only friends with because you were always drunk together and that you have basically nothing else in common. When I made new friends and realized that it's not normal for friends to constantly beat on me and make fun of me. I can relate. They weren't your friends, they were your bullies. Same, constantly making fun of you and talking behind your back, those are some shitty friends, good riddance. When they didn't respect how I feel about a subject and keep on bringing it up or using it and make up horrible excuses to continue doing it. I left them after that but now I'm lonely but it was right but somehow it felt wrong too. Boundaries feel weird when we realize it's time to change them and begin to do so. We are breaking the norm, the expectation we were, often unconsciously, complicit in creating. So even though it was wrong for us, it feels like we're breaking a pact. I'm so proud of you. You have done a difficult and momentous thing on behalf of your own worth as a human. It's lonely, and also there is now an opening for better friends to apply to be yours. When my best friend died and I got called a wet blanket. What does that even mean? It means someone who is weak or a crybaby. Who the fuck says that in this case except a total moron? When I started to actually show how horrible my mental health was. I was expected to be the clown friend in a friend group. Meaning I should always be joking and happy even in serious times and playing dumb. It's not how I wanted to be known but it seemed like it was the only way for me to make friends. The pressure of this, plus other things I was dealing with became too much for me to handle so I started taking about how I was feeling and how I was starting to have an identity crisis. Since I stopped playing dumb and being obnoxious I became too boring to hang out with. I had a few who stuck around and eventually the few and I became more open to each other about mental health. I had a similar experience. I thought I could open up while I was severely depressed, I really just needed someone to talk to, but it just strained the friendship. I learned that it's not safe to tell people the actually bad things in your life, you just push people away because they don't want to deal with your shit. I have one friend I can talk like that with, but no one else. When she threw our 10-year friendship away because she was jealous of the attention I was getting from a guy that I wasn't even interested in to begin with. When my best mate would grind on my ex-girlfriend at the club, and that it was okay because we were all friends and it was better him doing it than a stranger. In return after I split up with my ex I sniped the girl he was seeing, unintentionally, and her and I are still together to this day, while he's facing trial for sexual assault to another girl. Well, that escalated like a fucking Saturn V. 2006. My then best friend wanted to go to a big German metal festival. I did not want to go because my dad had end-stage cancer. Dad died August 8, couple of days after friend returned from the festival, and I called him because I needed someone to talk. He very bluntly stated that he had no interest in my dad's passing but wanted to tell me how great the festival was. You can't imagine how disappointed I was. For years I've been there for him whenever he got dumped, and the one time I needed a friend he wasn't there for me. Told him to shut my door from the outside and lose my number. This has to be one of the worst ones I've read about in this thread. What an awful human being. When he didn't invite me or even tell me about his wedding but called on the wedding day and asked me to lend him $1,000 because he was in a tight spot. You said no, right? Please tell me you said no. I disconnected the call without saying anything and didn't pick up again. When we were driving, he purposely tried to run over some ducks. The first time I saw him swerve at a turtle, I thought that I hadn't just seen that and thought that I was wrong in what I saw. When we got to his house, we ran to the store for some more chips and rolls for a cookout, told the wife we had to go. His wife called later to see if everyone was okay, and my wife shared with her what had happened. To which she replied, "It's just freaking birds." I'm polite but not friendly to he and she now. This is cookie cutter psychopathy. Cut contact before they get any ideas about how to move on from animals. Wish there were a way to stop them from doing it to animals too. When they told the whole class about which girl I had a crush on and then started bullying me. Don't worry, you're not alone, bud. He forgot to invite me to his 21st birthday party. I think my friends forgot to invite me to my 21st birthday. When I quit drinking because it was killing me. There were people I literally saw every single day who just disappeared as if by magic. 12 years ago this week, as it happens. Exactly a month ago I got sent to the hospital for medical reasons, found out I can never drink again. Found out real quick who still wants to hang when there's no drinks involved. This makes me feel just so lucky. I've tended towards groups that are generally drinkers, but we've never had an issue with getting together sans drinks. It probably helps that one of our core members is 100% sober, religious reasons, so there is almost always a mix of people drinking, which does change the tone. When my best friend fucked the guy I was in love with, she knew, while I was on work placement for 2 weeks. All my friends thought I should get over it and not rock the boat. So I did. First major depressive episode and a reflection of my self-esteem at the time. A year later she threw a fit because I kissed a guy that she liked. While still being in a relationship with the original guy. He dropped off a bag of my clothes she borrowed, including a box of tampons I had given her. You know the friendship is over when you get back your feminine hygiene products! Fuck you AMJ. I hate those don't rock the boat people, like fuck them. I was in a situation where I was told no to rock the boat, so I let the ship sail into its doom and just cut off 3/4 of my friend circle. A few came crawling back after realizing what a terrible person the other side really was, and I'm still friends with them. When my 3 friends made fun of me for not having the money to go on a camping trip for a week. I was just coming back from a month-long unpaid vacation and needed to get back to work. I had less than $100. We had gone on this same camping trip twice and it never cost as much as they were claiming everyone had to pay this time around. I didn't have the $500 to go and I let them know well in advance. The day before I was due to fly home, I got a text from my friend who was planning the camping trip telling me that it was in 2 days and how much it was going to cost. The things she said to me are things I would never say even to someone I hate. They never let it go either. I literally lost my 3 best friends due to a camping trip. No, you didn't. If it wasn't a camping trip it would be something else. They are assholes. It's nothing to do with the camping trip itself. They just needed an excuse to be assholes and raise themselves up by excluding you. It's exclusive now, one of you can't go, and they ran with that. Just horrible. When he sexually assaulted my new girlfriend, while I was using the washroom. Did you at least bash him? She was so distraught, she only told me after we got home from the house party. He called me the next day, complaining about his GF, and I said, "Look, we need to meet up and talk." That was the last time we spoke. Later heard on social media that he and his GF broke up. He returned to Serbia and disappeared. One of them found me crying in the closet and just closed it and walked away. But they also often hung out without me. That was just the final nail. For more videos, like and subscribe.